think I'm going to start 3 lines from the bottom of the top section, so we have the review in our in focus. The Rebbe says, in order to follow through further what he wants to say, we have to review and bring into focus what we already learned, and that is Oyer and Shefa. Shefa is where something of substance is being transmitted. And therefore, since there's something of substance being transmitted, it cannot be done inadvertently. You have to be engaged in the transmission. Both the Rab, the Mashpia, has to identify clearly what he is Mashpia. He has to reformat his own thinking to be suited to be transmitted to the Talmud. And the Talmud has to be focused and to accept this hashpah. It does not happen automatically. This is in Shefa. Then there is Oyer, which is only a ha'ora. Again, the principle of ha'ora, we have tried to give some kind of a sense of what that means. Essentially, ha'ora is a reflection of the real thing, except it's only a reflection, there is no substance to it. So in the case of order, that only a ha'ora is being given, there's no need to be engaged. Even in proximity, the mashpia being, or the oil, the moyer being in proximity to the recipient, automatically there is a transmission of this oil. And therefore, this is the most important principle. The oil is a gilum min ha'etzem she'me'ein ha'etzem. On one hand, we say, it's only on reflection. But really, what is being transmitted is of tremendous significance. In some sense, even greater than that which is than that which is in Shefa. Because the inyan that's me'ein ha'etzem, an aspect of the etzem, a reflection of the etzem, is being transmitted. We give the moshel, and it's an appropriate moshel. If you think into, if you have a guest in your home, you will inevitably serve the guest whatever is needed, for the meal and so forth. You're serving the meal, you're serving all the comforts of his being in your home. A chair, a place, and so forth. That is a great expression of your relationship to him. And that is done in a very concerted, in a defined manner. But then there is something that is much less engaging. And that is that he is actually a guest in your home, and you are his host. This happens automatically. He comes to your home, and you are welcoming him to your home. He comes into your home, and you are acknowledging the fact that he is there. This happens automatically. So you would think that this is of much less significance and much less of a relationship, of an effect than all the services that he's giving him. So we are saying that in fact, the actual presence, the actual fact that these two people are sitting together has an effect which is deeper than even that which is being transmitted between them. There's a pasuk I think I mentioned it in one of these days. Hayelchu shnayim yachdov bilti imne yodu. Is it conceivable that two people are walking together without having a rendezvous, without having agreed to be together? This agreed to be together seems to be a very superficial thing. But in fact, it is committing the actual person himself to this presence. If you are serving somebody a meal, you are concerned about his being hungry or uncomfortable. There is some kind of a definitive union that you're trying to supply. Whereas in being together, there is nothing that he is missing that you're trying to supply. What then is this neyodu about? What then is this rendezvous about? It is person to person. It is the very essence of this person and the essence of this person that sing together. This togetherness is much greater than anything else that is transmitted between them. This is the union of oir. It's a ha'ora, but it's an oir that brings the very essence of the two people together. In the Rebbe's words, that this oir, that is b'pchinas gilui ha'etzem, that represents the very essence, this is an oir that can be described as oir ein sof, going back l'mayla. On a human level, this is ein sof in a different sense. It is the entire human being. It is not a certain aspect of him. And that's where we say this relationship is undefined, but really it is greater than even when there is a big transmission. In terms, in the wording, so to speak, this is being presented, is this. That is, that in a gilui, in representation, in expression, there are two levels. There is a gilui that is intended to have an effect. That gilui is retranslated and reformatted in order to be able to be accepted and be transmitted, to have the effect. Then there is a gilui that is just revealing that the essence is here.
To remain on this call, press 1.
That the essence is here. Not expressing what he is giving. He's just his own presence is there. Now let's understand. The etzem stays within itself. Nothing is being drawn from the etzem. When two people are sitting together, no matter how related and how interrelated they are and what their feelings are for each other, there is nothing being transmitted one from the other. The principle of a Farbrengen, when the Frierdiker Rebbe left Russia, you can imagine it was a very dramatic moment. The Chassidim were left now, the Rebbe left, and how are we going to maintain, how are we going to survive? So the Rebbe spoke to the Chassidim and said various things. One principle that the Rebbe emphasized over and over and over again. Stay together. The Farbrengens the recognizing where everyone is, just to identify each other to each other, that is what's going to keep you alive. Ja, das war das schon.
Identifying means just seeing them.
What?
Identifying each other means just seeing each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Leave it to Shmuel. He'll gonna.
It does seem.
So you had the nail already into the hole? No.
We're saying when you're together.
It's
No, it is.
to be together.
Yeah, this being is like without content. There's no speech, right?
Not necessarily.
The side or
That's
the
right. But they will not separate. That's my point. Poshik says, if they sing it together, that means that they identify. They had a rendezvous. They agreed to be together. If two people walk together, but Poshik says, for sure they have planned. They have defined this togetherness. This defining of togetherness is not based on any kind of function, any kind of person. Where are you going, and why do I need you as my company? Nothing. Again, I am alerting everyone to think into their own experience. And the Vihine, in other words, this is a reality in human life. It's not a question that everyone has experienced this in one way or another. The difference between being alone and being in company, even the company is not involved in what you're doing. In company that you identify with and that you're friendly with, that's it. All right, let me just again reiterate that sentence. The Rebbe is saying that there are two effects: venturing, coming forth, flowing forth from the Etzem.
Where is it?
I'm going to start at the second paragraph, on Zion. Just to alert everyone, that which we discussed many times. Etzem is a phenomenal thing. Etzem is a reality that is a divine creation directly. It is not something that has developed as a result of various circumstances and causes and experiences. As we say, a human being was created directly as a human being. A human being is not the result of all the cholent and the potatoes and that he ate, or ice cream, even ice cream.
Maybe mask.
Huh?
Maybe mask.
Mashke. He is a recreation. The Pasuk says, Nasa Odom B'Tzalmenik Musino. When he initially was created, he was already created with these qualities. B'Tzalmenik Musino, in our form and our likeness. He already had inherently in him this ability and this sense of purpose of ruling and directing the world. This is what a human being is. He does not have to be burdened with the job. You be responsible for this. If he's in a place, he's automatically responsible. That's what a human being is. This is a reflection of the Etzem itself. But the reflection of the Etzem on the functional side. So there are two things. There is the Ha'ara, which simply speaks about the Etzem, and then there is Ha'ara whose function it is to be effective in the environment. This is already a functional thing. There's the oil in soif and there's ha'or. Umnum. Umnum, however, adayin tzorich l'hovin, there's something still left that needs to be clarified. The haloi, for is it not? Behamsholim, and the misholim that are used to explain the inyan from Ein Sof. In both misholim, the oil v'ziv hashemesh, of the oil of the light and the brightness of the sun, the oil and then the light, the chayos and nefesh, and the chayos and the life force of the nefesh. Both of these are misholim to express, to give us a sense of oil. Oil coming from an etzem. As we explained, the sun is an etzem bihiri. The sun does not act to produce a light. The light is part of the definition of what sun is. This behiri use, this brightness that we see from the sun, this is part and parcel of what the sun is. This part and parcel of that sun is does not mean that the sun possesses this quality. This is the essence of sun. Again, it is very difficult for us, with our limited seichel, to conceptualize the principle of an essence. We have many misholim for that. But after all the misholim, we still have to resort to something higher than our seichel. Essentially, as we said before, chokhmah and rotzeh. We recognize that there is a reality that is beyond focus. So in both of these misholim, so there, gamzeh, this too, meaning the oil and the chayes hanefesh, the oil of now the shemesh and the oil on the nefesh, although they do have the effect, they are relation, they're reflective of the essence. The ziv hashemesh is reflective of the shemesh. The chayes hanefesh is reflective of the nefesh. The reason that the nefesh, by its presence, gives life is because nefesh is the essence of life. The nefesh cannot give life and then leave the goof and let the goof be alive. The nefesh gives life by its own very presence in the goof. And so too the ziv hashemesh, the light of the shemesh, cannot give light into the world and then leave and the world will be bright. The brightness of in the world is a phenomenal brightness, but it is reflective, it is representing the presence of the sun. So now, seeing that these are two things which are representative of the essence, so we would think that this is what's called the ha'or. However, harei, behold, gam zeh, these two, meaning this part of the oil v'tziv hashemesh and this part of the oil v'chayes hanefesh, that have the effect of light, or the effect of life, who bigdei lifail. Both of these have the inyan bigdei lifail in order to affect this quality. The sun is in order to the oil hashemesh has an element that it means to illuminate. and the nefesh is it gives life. Lei bebchinas gila meno etzem. This is not bebchinas, it does not represent the principle of gila meno etzem, of just a gila, a relation, a statement of the etzem, a statement that there is an etzem.
Why not? Because it's lifol, it's to accomplish something?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
because it does illuminate the world and does give chayes to the.
But one it was said that the oil is representing the shemesh. And our mind, representing means it doesn't have to be there. Like someone as a shlich is representing, and here we're saying that if the shemesh is not there, there's no oil. It goes.
This is a stretch on the word representing of Shleiman, and I would like you, but it's fine. Let's take that up. When you say that you have a shliach, and the shliach is representing the mishalech, the mishalech is not present. It's not present. Of course he is present. Not only is he present, but the Mishaleach is concerned about what's going over there with his son the Shliach. And he relates to that place too. Of course he is present.
A person makes a shlich to Mekadosh issue, so
And he doesn't care about what happens.
he cares, but
In other words, the Rebbe is the son for all the shluchim.
What? Yes,
The
sure.
Rebbe is the son for all the shluchim.
Of course. If the Rebbe says, okay, my job is finished, now you're on your own, what will happen to the Shluchim? So the Oyev V'ziv HaShemesh and Noir Chayes HaNefesh have the defining element that they leave for it in order to have the effect, to be effective onto that place where they are revealed. Leiv B'chinas Gilam and Etzem, not just the Gilam and Etzem, the revealing of the Etzem itself. Sheharei, why do we say that this is how it is, that this is in order to be effective? This boil yil perek mamches. Pardon me, we explained earlier. The oir hashemesh, that the light of the sun, ein in yonoi, its aim is not l'tayar as a etzem, simply to describe what kind of etzem the shemesh is. Kiim, rather, the oil Hashemesh is li foil piyulas oil, to have the effect of what the oil how oil affects his environment, not just simply to describe what kind of shemesh there is. Harei, thus, if we reflect on this truth, that it is not l'tayras or etzem, not to describe the etzem, but to actually be effective as a reflection of the etzem. Therefore, we see how she'einei b'bchinas gilu min ha'etzem. Therefore, the oil is not b'bchinas, is not in that status, in that state of gilu min ha'etzem, just revealing the etzem. If it were just revealing the Etzem,
Oh, sorry, someone's calling me. I forgot to off my ringer. I'm sorry.
and if it were just a Gila Minu Etzem, then it would stay connected to the Etzem and had no effect externally. But the fact is, it does have an effect externally. Therefore, it is not just Gila Minu Etzem. The title to Etzem means to describe the Etzem, but Lifa Pula Zoe. Therefore, we see that the Eira Shemesh is not Gila Minu Etzem. Here, these words are a little bit circular, but you have to focus on. Gila Minu Etzem means it is just revealing in revelation from the Etzem, no other purpose in it.
Didn't we ask this question on the Nefesh earlier? We said it was.
V'chein oyer chayza nefesh. Similarly, is the oyer of chayza nefesh, the oyer of the life force of the nefesh. The life force of the nefesh is harei, behold, in yonoi, its aim, and its full definition. What does it stand for? It is to affect the function of chayus, of life. It is not just to make known that there is a nefesh here, but to actually have the effect by its presence, that the goof in which the nefesh is present experiences this life of the nefesh. K'moi kein l'mayla. K'moi kein l'mayla. A similar thing is about l'mayla. Harei neida. It is well known. Haloi neida, is it not known? Shagam ho'er makif. That even the oir makif, even the surrounding light, poel piyulas boilomis, has an effect on the world. Okay, this is something which we have not yet touched here. Oir makif, a surrounding light. The whole time we're talking about pnimi. Pnimi means internal lights, something that is being absorbed by the recipient. Like we said before in our simple motion of a guest and a host. There is that which a host gives him. Support, food, and so on. The guest may be giving a gift to the host. And then there is also the time that is spent there, the discussing Torah or reminiscences, whatever it is. All these are what's called pneumistic. All these are functional aspects. Then there is what's called oil makif. The oil makif in this arena, simply they're sitting in this house. They're sitting together in this house. That has nothing to do with their activity at all. But the oil makif has an effect upon their interaction. The fact that they are discussing this in this man's home, and they're sitting in this proximity, that definitely has an effect. Even though this is not part of what they're actively pursuing. So it's explained, we're not going to go too far into this, that oil makif also poil pulas oil. Even the surrounding light, which is above world, it is not translated and is not understood by the world on an internalized manner, has an effect. I pointed out many times that when a person is walking, there's a tremendous difference between walking out in the open in the street and walking inside the room. Witness, as you always point out, there are people that can't stay still. They come to shul, they're constantly walking back and forth. It's called pacers. Constantly walking back and forth. And if you would measure the amount of space that they cover in this pacing, you would think, hey, they should be exhausted. The fact is, they're just as fresh as when they first started. Cover the same distance on the outside, and it's a completely different effect. This is the peula of the makif. So now the question is this, vimke, and therefore, since that the makif also has an effect, mahu ha'hefresh, what is in fact the difference on the pointed manner, bein ho'er makif lo ho'er pnimi? Between the oil makif, what is the central difference between the makif, the surrounding, the higher light, the encompassing light, the enabling light, and the pnimi, the internalized light? The Rebbe touched upon certain aspects of this question. Just for starters, this is going to be, we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of this. Life in a person. Life clearly is the presence of a living nefesh. This living nefesh is in the goof, and it brings life to the goof. The main thing as far as our experience is, the goof comes to life. We feel, we can, and we experience a life element. We feel cold and hot, we feel hard and soft, and all kinds of different things that come to us due to the life element in our bodies. Over and above that, let me step back a bit. This life element a tree is also alive. And l'havdil, an animal is also alive. And then there is the human being alive. What is the difference between the life of a tree and the life of a human being? This is easy to speak about because it's so obvious. The life of the tree is the effect of life. The life of the human being is the essence of life.